Hi guys. So I was just thinking about something that my grandma used to say when I was younger, and I was like, why does she say that? Like when I was being impatient, and she had this saying that says, a watched pot never boils. Now let me know below if your grandmother used to say that or your mom used to say that. And what she meant by a watched pot never boils, it's true. Things cannot change when you are constantly observing them. Remember, every reality, every state that exists has a specific observer for it. So if you're always someone who is looking at the 3D, checking the 3D, that in itself is a state too. You're in the state of someone who's always being a seeker but never having full fulfillment. And I was thinking about this morning because I myself got a moment of being impatient for something, but then I remembered things naturally come in for me when I turn away from looking at the perceived problem. Because remember, to dissolve a problem is to turn inward and look at God, to look at the God within you, and the God within you dissolves all things. So guys, if you're always checking the 3D, then you are in a state of always being a seeker, but never the person who has it. And we want our manifestation, so you have to get over into the feeling of having it. Now, yes, you can be in the feeling of having it and knowing that you have it and just acknowledge that it's not in your 3D. But what you're doing is when you're watching the 3D, and quantum physics even shows this too, when you're observing something. So say you're affirming for, let's say, a new car. You're affirming for your new car, but you're watching and you're always like, when am I going to get my new car? When am I going to get my new car? When am I going to get my new car? And then you're in your old car or whatever, and you're just like, when am I going to get my new car? That is watching and being a seeker, but never having the fulfillment of already having the car. Because remember, Neville says to pray for riches, but to be aware of lack or not having the money is to still manifest what it is that you don't want. And so that's why you're in a state of constantly like looking at the 3D, checking the 3D, reacting to the 3D. So it's going to give you more of what you're reacting to, more of what you're seeking. So you may get the little signs here and there and the angel numbers and all these things, but that's all you're going to get because you're not fulfilled, because you're like, oh, I see the angel numbers. It's coming. But you're not in the fulfillment of already having. So checking the 3D does nothing for you, especially if it's like not exactly where you want it to be. Why are you even looking? Like, cool. It's showing that, because what the 3D is actually doing, it wants you to keep interacting with it so that story can still exist. So you have to starve the story by not checking, not looking, because you're the only decider. You're the only one saying, you know what, my imagination, what I'm thinking within, what I'm doing within myself is the true reality. So I don't need something to be different outside of here, or things to have changed drastically in the 3D to prove to me who I am. No, I decide who I am. I decide that my desires are already fulfilled within myself because I give them to myself within. I'm observing them within. So of course I have it. So I move throughout the world knowing that I already have it. And somehow in the 3D it appears. Because when you turn away from that pot, watching that pot, it has no choice but to start moving and get your attention. Just like if you were manifesting money and you're like, oh, I don't have. And you turn away from the problem of not having the money, and you're not looking for it, you're not needing it, you're just like, you know what, I intend for it, I know I have it, and then you move on with your life. That's when it comes in the most crazy, most miraculous ways, when you're not even into it, when you're just being like, whatever, I'm doing my thing. So I want you guys to remember, stop checking the 3D, especially if you're checking from not having, because you're just going to manifest more of not having. So move over into fulfillment, because that is who you are. You are fulfillment itself. And if you move over into fulfillment knowing that your desires are already a present fact, then what is there to look for? If you had your SP, if you had your manifestation, if you had everything that you desired, you wouldn't constantly be looking for it. You would just acknowledge like the feeling of naturalness. Like, of course I already have it. All right. So a watch pot never boils. I'm glad that that came across my mind today, because I feel like my grandmother was definitely trying to tell me something. So remember, you guys, imagination, what you're doing within yourself is always on your side. It's always on your side. If you're imagining looking for signs, that is what you're going to receive. You're manifesting more signs. But move over into fulfillment, because that is who you are, and give it to yourself. Give yourself your desires within yourself, because you're the only one granting them to you anyway, because you are the source. All right. So if you want coaching with me and my freebies, don't forget to download my freebies. They're in my store below, but go ahead and book coaching with me if you would like. I'm so excited for all the new subbies and the new clients that I have. And let's continue this thing, you guys. So get down in the comments and let me know how this video helped you. And remember, once again, imagination is always on your side, and I'm too. Bye.